Welcome everyone. Welcome to our guest speaker. Now today we have got Neha. Neha has been a member of One Woman's Voice now for I think nearly 3 years. You are members of Building Tomorrow Today and Women's Entrepreneurs Network. It's probably the first time you've met her. However, Neha has she does a wonderful business. She has an extraordinarily valuable service, but also she lives in Hong Kong. And I don't meet many people that live in Hong Kong. Welcome, Neha. Welcome. We were just discussing this earlier, weren't we? The difference between Hong Kong and other parts of the world, say. I mean, I'm in the UK, so I'm about 40 minutes maybe from London. How long have you lived in Hong Kong?
I'd say 21 years.
Oh, really? Oh, so you have seen an amazing difference, haven't you, over the years? You must have seen so many changes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know I can only go from decades ago. So I know from decades ago that it used to be extremely safe.
Yeah.
Is that still? It still is.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could leave. I think we were talking about you could, if you left your credit card, it would get handed in. Is that true?
Yeah. I have I would say I've left it and forgot to take it back from the supermarket, and the ladies at the cashier, they kept it safely, and I was able to go back a couple days, sometimes 5 days after, and still get it.
Wow. No, that's unheard of.
and no transactions other than the one I made.
Really? It's been wiped clean in between times. No, that really doesn't happen an awful lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have got people that are really kind in the UK, very trustworthy, and wouldn't do anything like that. But there's also a certain element that would take your card and try to use it, I must admit. But not only that, if you leave things lying around or doors unlocked, again, in certain areas, I'm not saying this is a widespread, but certainly in certain areas of the UK, you have to be careful. You do have to be careful. But the beauty of living in Hong Kong, I mean, it must be staggeringly multicultural, and the scenery must be wonderful.
Yeah. Within 30 minutes to an hour, you can be in the woods, and you're in the city, and within 30 minutes, if you can be in the woods, it's amazing. And that Hong Kong offers great hiking.
Really? Oh, see, this is something else that I don't know about. You only ever see the big tall buildings and the skyscrapers and the vibrant financial parts of the city. And no, it is wonderful. It is, and perhaps you can come along and share some more insights about your life in Hong Kong another time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, how do you, because I know that you've got a lot going on in your business at the moment, but how do you help your clients? What do you do and how do you help your clients?
So what I help them do is understand why they feel unworthy. Why do they have a hard time loving themselves? I help them understand why, firstly. And it's like a remembrance of understanding that, and then discovering what is holding them back, and then how they can, through learning about their story, they can rewrite their story and wire themselves and change themselves entirely, change their lives to build a better relationship for themselves or find true love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually rewire from situations since childhood, even?
Yeah, because that's what the book is about. My book, Wired for Self-Love, that's what it is about, and it's my own journey. And it's interesting that we talked about safety in Hong Kong. And as a as someone who practiced meditation, like I just fell into it, and it was part of the journey of personal development. I studied myself and how I was not myself all of these years, up until the point that I realized, oh my goodness, I have held this vibration since childhood, that I am not safe, because childhood, my childhood was traumatic. It was that physical, emotional abuse, verbal abuse involved, and how I did not feel safe in those environments. But then it's not like when I stepped out of it, I left it there. It was there with me, and it's a realization I had. So what happens with my clients as well, when they go through their stories and understand themselves, so this is the huge part, understanding themselves through self-awareness,
Yeah.
which is what meditation and the journey is about. They are able to, because understanding is very important, Jill. When people understand something, they have power over it, meaning they can flip it, they can change it, they understand that, okay, I can do something about it. Now I have better control over my future events, because my past is no longer going to control my future and my present. So leaving your past behind, that's what is there in the title. And then moving on, when they write a new story for themselves, it's something that happened through my own journey, when I realized, oh my God, I got into storytelling. And that's when when I wrote my story, I realized for the first time I was living in Hong Kong up until then for already 16 years. But I was standing in my studio apartment, and I was blown away by the realization that I have never felt safe. Even when I have lived in Hong Kong, one of the safest places in the world,
Yeah.
I still don't feel that way. And that was a realization, because knowing that it's a safe place, but it's safe for me to express myself, now that I am away from that, my past, that was huge, huge. And my life shifted entirely.
I'm
And
fascinated. You can tell. Carry on, carry on.
and so that's when a lot of things started to happen, and it's like pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. I met the love of my life, and I was able to, interesting, when what brought me to Hong Kong is not necessarily what is keeping me here. And because it was, for me, Hong Kong was an escape from a very, I would say, from the treatment that I would wish upon nobody else. And it was living hell to be in under the same roof, and your parent not talking to you, and then you come to know, okay, there is no other choice but to do whatever they want, because that's how I would please them. So I was a people pleaser, but I wanted to get away from there, and the only choice was a marriage. Of course, that marriage is no longer existing in my life, but then my association with, every time someone asks me, what brought you to Hong Kong, it's the same thing. But now that I am away from it, how I see it differently, there's two different things. What brought me was an arranged marriage, but then there is a lot of pain associated with that.
Okay.
But now I'm able to flip that and say, oh, this was a place of massive transformation, and I met the love of my life.
I see what you've done there. I see that you've taken the positives, as in, this is the place that you were meant to be, but the way you got here was unpleasant. Is that right?
Yes. So it's like being able to flip the situation by looking at it from a different perspective. There's a picture of a a kid in a very cute image. I don't have that image on me right now, but it's very cute. And she's in a diaper and she's flipped over and she's looking from between her legs and she has a huge smile. She's cutest face and a huge smile. And on the photo, it says, sometimes all it takes is a new perspective.
Oh, lovely. Wow. And this is the journey that you take your clients through.
Yeah, to help them understand.
And did you say something about procrastination and that sort of thing?
Yes, it was very interesting. I talk about it in my book because it was part of the process. It was while I was going through it, I was witnessing myself through the journey of procrastination and how I pull myself out and understand what procrastination is. So I was in the beginning part of writing the book, which means you need to do a little bit of research about the book and how much understanding there is of self-love and whether it's in practice, blah, 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 all of those things. And up until that point, I had been a meditator for about 8 years. I know so much about self-love, Jill. So why should I research? There's like, the ego.
I can understand that. I've been saying the same thing about me.
So doing the research was challenging my identity, the false identity that I was so attached to. That's what I realized. And so what is the procrastination looking like? I am not doing the research. I wasted 4 weeks, absolutely, just stuffing those emotions that I did not want to face. And I was eating cheese and baking bread and having chai. So using food as a distraction.
Yes.
And of course I gained weight. And I did not.
You're echoing me. If I've got a task I really don't want to do, I go and bake a cake or something like that.
Yeah. It's like, so what's happened? I'm glad you shared it because this helps people understand, because you're not doing the bigger task, the more important task that needs to be done. You go and do the one that you want to do, and that makes you feel like, oh, you've accomplished something.
Yes.
Or even if it's eating, it's like, oh, I'm going to accomplish this piece of sandwich or whatever, that feels like I've done something. So there's that level of fakeness is there. And then one day I said, oh my God, look at this, what's going on. And it's my ego. And my ego is in the way. And oftentimes ego comes in the way of love, even if it's self-love.
Really?
Yes.
Gosh.
It is huge. I mean, ego is important, but when it comes to, from my own experience, I understand when it comes to a relationship and a beautiful one where there's more understanding, ego should not come in the way. Ego, you have to park your ego far out in the parking lot and be open to having that conversation with you, sit down with you and talk with yourself and listen to yourself.
Yeah. That would be quite a difficult one for me. I'm pretty sure. You're really making me think hard here. Wow.
Yeah, and that's the rewiring happening right now.
Oh, see, in practice already, dear, oh dear.
Yes.
So I know that you've got a masterclass. I know you've got your book because I've actually got your book on my Kindle.
Oh,
and I've started reading it. And I was already engrossed by, a few pages in, because you start talking about your journey at the very beginning, don't you? And then you go on to the different strategies. But certainly, it was a difficult upbringing, wasn't it? It was a difficult upbringing that you had. So I would encourage everyone. Let me share the screen and get that up, because I have got that. Let me just get that up. Here's a copy. Here's where you can go to, are we there? Yes. Here's where you can go. Wired for Self-Love. it is intriguing. The start of your book is intriguing. The way you've led us into your journey, and I literally have only got to the part where you are entering, you've relocated to Hong Kong, and I'm completely hooked on the whole thing. But certainly that is your book. You can find it on Amazon, but you've also got your masterclass, which I am going to get any minute now, once this goes away. Come on. No, I'm going to stop the share and come back on and find it. Oh, there it is. It was in there all the time. But you've also got a masterclass that you're doing, aren't you? You're pushing that. You're doing that on the 2 days, over 2 days.
Yes.
Let me get that up on the screen as well. I'm sorry about this. I'm sharing my screen a lot here. So 24th, 25th, self-love masterclass, self-love advocate and author. This was the bit that caught me. If you struggle daily with self-doubt or procrastination, this is you. And then the different areas that you're doing on the event. But there's something a little bit more special about this event as well, isn't there? That you're asking people to help you.
Yes. I'm looking for people who really want to understand how they can start practicing self-love and stop that doubt. If they really are struggling with it, they're going to learn and take away a lot from the masterclass. And in return, and it's a free masterclass, of course, in return for their participation, what I ask is feedback, honest feedback on the class, what they enjoyed, what can be improved. It will really help me be able to serve people better. So their participation is important, and they're going to get a lot out of this masterclass. There will also be a meditation that I will be giving away.
Wow.
Yeah. Recorded by myself.
Sorry, say that bit again.
I recorded that meditation, so it's going to be in
oh
my yes.
Lovely. I was just talking earlier about how I do love that calming down at the end of a workshop. I even thought about doing it for my own, but I did think that was probably a little bit over the top for me, because I'm talking about business and visibility and systems. However, if you can get to the end of a workshop or a masterclass and you can bring everybody together, calm them all down so that when they leave you, they're in a relaxing mood and they switch off all their devices and they go, oh, that was fantastic. Honestly, that is it's gold to be able to leave your audience like that, because we're all of us, and we're all rushing around here, there and everywhere. Sometimes I finish workshops like, right, dinner, right, this, right, that. But when I've had a meditation, or I've got the link to be able to go and find it, then I value that far more. I value that workshop far more, actually, because it's the way you've made me feel at the end of it. It's something that I'm only just beginning to talk about, and I'm only just beginning to think through myself. But it is the way you feel, isn't it? The way you make people feel is very important. And I guess this is going way back to the very beginning of what you were talking about in your childhood, and in people's childhood growing up. It is the way they feel. And from your discussion that you've been talking about today, I could see that I would benefit from it, not only for me, but also about how to tackle situations that come up with my grandchildren as they're growing up, because they're growing up in a world that is alien to me. Social media, all that goes on at school, it's so different to what I understand from my own understanding, my own experience. I actually think that this masterclass is not only valuable to the people that have gone through the experience, and I'm going to class myself as not, but I am going to be joining you. But I also think it would be beneficial to the whole family.
Yeah. When you practice meditation, I noticed this, that your level of self-awareness, it will, first thing first, it's going to permeate other areas of your life. So you're going to be aware about certain aspects, and then that awareness is going to move on to other areas of your life, and then from there it's going to go on to your people that are in your circle,
Yeah.
close to your family, everyone. It takes time, and whenever they're open and ready for it, they will start. It will happen. And I have seen that. Yeah.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll finish the recording, but we'll pop this on into the groups probably
Yes.
tomorrow,
Mhm.
tomorrow evening. Sorry, I'm talking now as if we've already finished the recording, which is silly, but it will be going up, and we'll put the links in underneath to be able to sign up for your masterclass or take a look at your book as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and my brain is all over the place with all of the information that you've given out. But stay around a bit, Neha, because I want to have a chat with you after this. Okay, but thank you very much for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining in. Bye-bye.